Yo, I'm back, guys. All right, needed to fix my mic here. Something came unplugged, but I hope everybody's doing great today on this Friday evening. I got something special for you guys planned out, so I hope everybody's excited, everybody's ready to go, and we're gonna get right into it, guys. So there might have been some technical difficulties with my previous posts on YouTube. If you go there now, I know the second one I did is definitely up. So go check it out. Make sure to like and subscribe while you're at it. The first one that I did back at the beginning of January will be back up later tonight. For whatever reason, it never posted and I didn't know about it. Oops. But I hope everybody's excited and let's get into it, guys. So what we're gonna be doing today is we got some nice fillets. Oh yeah. Just wanna look at those bad boys. Ooh, sexy, 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 sexy. So if you don't know, the fillet comes off of the loin, most tender part of the cow. It's in a long strip and they'll slice it down. A lot of people think there is no fat in these loins. There's no fat in fillets, and that's totally false. Every piece of meat is going to have fat in it. This will be the piece of meat that has the least amount. But what you want some fat in it so that it melts down as you cook and really gives flavor to the meat. Let me turn this down for you guys a second. There we go. All right, back into it. So we're gonna put some. We got some potatoes here, some red skin potatoes. These are personally my favorite. I always like quartering them and roasting. Excuse me. So we're just gonna do a couple potatoes here. I already got my oven preset to 400 degrees. 400 seems to be the perfect temp for these. So I'm just gonna quick have these long ways, and then I'm just gonna chop them down real quick. Just, you don't, I mean, piece like that sits in the palm of your hand. That's perfect. If you can, the closer every piece is even, the faster it'll cook. I'm gonna do this. There we go. You don't want a real big piece of potato that's not fully cooked with a tiny potato that's super mushy. So you always want your cuts to be nice and even. I know I was gonna cube these. I decided to go slightly smaller. There we go. I'm gonna cut this one down. Sweet. So we got our red skin potatoes here. Nice large chop. We're gonna come over here, and I already got my pan foiled. I'm gonna throw these potatoes on. Now, potatoes will always take the longest, unless of course your oven is the temperature of the sun, and then of course they'll be done in like 30 seconds. But we'll oil these, make sure they're nice and oily. Now you definitely want non-stick foil because the potatoes will stick as they roast. Otherwise you can add a little bit more oil to it. It won't harm it in any way. It'll just make sure they come up and not stick to the foil, because you want that crispiness from the roasting. And then we're just going to add some salt and pepper. My dogs over here are going crazy looking for the steak. Yeah, as soon as I opened the package, they're like, here we go. A little bit of salt, pepper on that. Make sure they get nice coated evenly. There we go. And then into the oven they go. Alright, so we're going to wash our hands real quick. Get all that oil off there. So now these potatoes should take about 25 to 30 minutes. About halfway through though, we're going to test them out, see where they're at. It'll give us a good indication on how much longer they actually need to cook. Alright, perfect. Now that we got potatoes ready to go, we're going to dice up our vegetables. Today we got some broccoli florets. Always a good indication of if you got a good bushel is it's nice and green on the bottom. We're just going to use one for right now. I got some red pepper, or a red pepper, to give it some color, along with our shallot. Always love the shallots. So we're just going to cut this down. Now you can use the base of the broccoli. We're going to throw that aside and have that be our, for the dogs. They love the broccoli stalks. I'm just going to cut these florets up. Going from the bottom is probably easiest because you can see where they pull apart. And then for these bigger ones, you can just cut them in half. No problem. Perfect. Now for our pepper, we're going to top and bottom it. And then you want to pull that core out. We're going to set that to the side as well. And you'll just cut down the one side so it opens up. From here, you can cut it in half. And then take out this white bitterness in the center. That holds the seeds together. Take off that sticker. Oh yeah. Perfect. And then what you're left with is a perfect red pepper with no extras. Do the same to the shallot, top and bottom, and then peel it. We're going to cut it right in half to make peeling easier. We'll set that half aside. We'll use this one, the smaller half. There we go. And then we're just going to slice this one down. Doesn't have to be too thin because this will be cooked with the broccoli, and you want a nice crunch of the shallot. It's a good complement with the red peppers, and it gives it a little bit of sweetness. Then we're going to cut these down. Again, you don't want them too small to overcook, and you don't want them too big where they're super crunchy. So probably about, I'd say, 1/4 of an inch thickness, or the back, slightly bigger than the back of your knife blade. Set those aside. Do this second one. There we go. All set. Clean off the knife. And then give the pups a treat, because they're just so good sitting off to the side. Kona, Charlie. Charlie, come here. Come here. There he is. Sit. Go boys. Yeah, there you go. They love broccoli, and then they run away with all their treats. Like it's something special. So we're going to throw out our garbage here. Leave the broccoli, the rest of the broccoli as treats. There you go. Perfect. Alright, we're going to turn our pan on for our broccoli. I'm going to turn it on high. Add some oil. I'm running low on oil. And we're actually going to add some garlic to it. Give it a little bit, one more layer of flavor. Never a bad idea. So now to peel your garlic clove, all you got to do is lay it flat on your cutting board, and with the base of your hand and the thickness of your knife, just lightly tap it, and it'll crush it just enough so you can peel it. And you'll definitely want to get that root off of there as well. And this one you'll definitely want to do a fine chop. You don't want too much of a chunk of garlic, because that's just not tasty. Alright, now that we got that set up. Now, there's an order once you add multiple vegetables into the mix that you want to cook. Obviously, the vegetables, the vegetables that take the longest time, you want to add first and get nice coloring on those before you add anything else. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to add peppers, then we're going to go broccoli, and then we're going to let both those cook together. Then we'll add our shallots and then our garlic at the very end, and seasonings to bring everything together. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to wash my hands because the garlic is always sticky. There we go. Now you'll notice how I have the fillets sitting out. You want them at room temperature right when you put them into the pan, because that'll give the meat the best char. Alright. Pan's nice and hot. Oh yeah. Careful so the oil doesn't splash up on you like it did myself. Get those nice and warmed up, coated in oil. Then we're going to add our broccoli. And then from here we'll just wait, give it a nice toss, make sure it's all nice and coated. There we go. And then we'll set the garlic and the shallots off to the side and clean our cutting board. There we go. Alright, so now we got our potatoes working. We got half of our vegetables working. Let's see. We'll check the potatoes. Potatoes, the oil is starting to sizzle a little bit, so we're gonna let those keep roasting. And right now we're gonna season our meat. Our meat. So I'm gonna use a plate for this, just because it can get a little messy. I'm gonna set that off to the side. So what we got here is about a 1-inch thickness and a 1 1/4 inch thickness of 6-ounce fillets. So that would be a perfect perfect amount for one person. Right, I'm gonna save this later for my girlfriend. Hopefully, I don't even think she knows yet. So what we're gonna do is season salt and pepper. You can be generous with this because a lot of it is going to fall off into the pan once it starts cooking. You want to get the sides as well. Then we'll get the bottom. Sweet. Set the salt and pepper off to the side. Then we're going to bring in our onion powder. Ooh. You don't want too much of this, but again, a lot of it's gonna fall off into the pan once you start cooking it. So don't be afraid. And then we'll also add our garlic powder. Garlic powder is the best invention ever. Changed my mind. We're gonna add that. And then we're going to let the meat sit a little longer as we take care of our vegetables. Let all the seasonings soak in. Wash our hands real quick though, because you're touching raw meat. You can start to see the vegetables are smoking. or the oil is smoking, so you want to keep moving it so it doesn't get too dark on the bottom. Yeah, as you can see there, I let it go a little long. So we're going to turn our heat down. And we're going to add some butter. Butter is always a great thing to add after you are sauteing. It'll give it another level of flavor. So let me get a knife out. There we go. Add just a little bit in there. Save the rest of the butter for our steak. There we go. Oh. There we go. Turn this down a little further. Then we're going to add our shallots. We got our butter melted in there already. Add a little more oil. And you'll start to smell you'll start to smell the peppers and the onions, and it'll fuse together and absolutely make you drool. Perfect. So we'll have it turn our pan on for our steaks. Now you can use a cast iron. I didn't want to pull my cast iron out for this. I have a special dinner set aside for that one. Cast irons are always great to use, great heat conductors, and if you cook with them often, a lot of that flavor will absorb into literally anything you cook. You can cook everything in there, and it'll all enhance the flavor of future dishes. We're going to keep our vegetables moving while our pan gets nice and hot. Now I'm going to fill up my oil real quick. So what you want to use is a oil that's not going to burn in your pan. Right here I got some canola oil. It's not the best. Vegetable oil I highly recommend. Or if it's available to you in your local grocery store, grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil has the highest burn temperature, meaning that the temperature needs to be at a higher point than any other oils before grapeseed will burn. Oh, a couple escaped the pan, so we'll be back in there. And as I touched it, because it fell out of the pan, the peppers are starting to wilt and the onions are starting to soften up slightly and caramelize. So we're going to add our garlic in. Toss that around. And then we're going to take it off the heat, or we're going to leave it on low heat. We won't take it off, we're going to turn it on low heat and let it sit to the side. So I got some oil in the pan for our steaks. Pan is nice and hot. We're going to add a little more, but you don't want to fry it. There we go. So our pan is coated now. Get it nice and hot. And this is my favorite part. I'm going to take our steak. As you can see, some of the seasoning soaked in or absorbed into the meat. We're going to turn it upside down. Oh, that's the sound you want. Oh, perfect. We're going to let those sit as we wash our hands. Perfect. Alright, so now we got our steaks working. We got our vegetables at low heat, ready to go at a moment's notice. That's going to finish up cooking nicely. You can see all the caramelization on there. The garlic is starting to brown nicely, so we're probably going to put that off to the side now. We'll come back to it. So at this point, steaks won't take too long. Maybe these 10 minutes tops. What you want to wait for is a nice char on the bottom. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. You can tell it's nice around the edges, and that's going to keep in all the flavor. So we're going to let those keep working. And what we're going to do is we're going to sear all sides of it, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. So what that's going to do is we're going to cook it on the outside, seal in all the flavor, finish it in the oven, so the rest of the fat on the inside can melt down and break down, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I like my steak at a nice medium rare medium, especially fillets. Fillets are always good at medium rare. So you can just see. Look at that. Oh man. That nice dark color to it. It's exactly what you want. At this point, we'll check the potatoes. Been in the oven for about 10 minutes or so. We'll pull these out. Oh boy. So what happened to my potatoes is that I didn't put enough oil on them, so they're starting to stick, which is no problem. Alright, so our steak's finished on the bottom. We're going to do a quick sear on the side, all the way around. So I'm just holding it with my tongs as I roll it around in the pan. You don't want it too much, like top and bottom. Now we're going to take this out of the pan because these are so small. Oh man. I'm going to take these out of the pan, throw them into a not hot pan, and we'll throw that into the oven. Let those finish up, probably about 2 to 3 more minutes in that. Throw this pan to the side. At this point, we'll bring our vegetables back. Let those finish up on the heat. At this point, you can add, if you're making a stir fry, and you use, this is a great combo for chicken stir fry, or a beef stir fry, or even if you're vegetarian, if you have some quinoa or some brown rice you want to mix together, this is perfect. You can always add any soy sauce, chili flake. You can add General Tso's, General Tso sauce if you find it at the store. You can add some sambal. There's a ton of ways you can go after this combination. I'm just going to leave it the way it is though. Get it nice and colorful. Add a little bit of salt, pepper to it because it has that garlic flavor in there already. Perfect. And then a nice toss. All right, we're gonna check on our steaks because they were so small. They should be cooking nice and quick. Right now they're at about a medium rare. I'm gonna let it go a little further. You can always tell how a steak is cooked if you the palm of your hand. So if you put your first and thumb together, your index and thumb, and you press right in between, that'll tell you the doneness, the wellness of a steak. So right here, first finger and thumb is medium rare. Middle finger is medium. Ring finger is medium well, and pinky is well done. Now at each point of these, it'll feel exactly the way a piece of meat should feel. We're gonna set these off to the side. That's the trick I've always used when I was cooking at a 5-star steakhouse. I use that technique when I'm here at home, or even if I'm cooking with friends. Everybody will see me just test out on my finger and then test on the steak, and it'll be perfect. Alright, these pups have been real patient, so we're gonna give them another treat. I'm gonna give them another treat. Just the stalks of the broccoli. Come here. Come on, pups. Charlie. Come here. Come here, Charlie. Sit. There you go. Good job, Kona. Here you go, Charlie. There you go. Good boy. Perfect. So we're going to clean up our station here a little bit. Potatoes should be getting ready to come out any second. We're going to double check those. Now the best way to tell with a potato is taking a fork. Trusty fork. And if you can pierce it and it goes straight through, they're ready. So it looks like most of these are right there. We'll give it about, say, 5 more minutes. And then we'll test out our steaks. Oh, our steaks are looking absolutely beautiful, guys. Look at that. Nice brown texture to it. So we got about a little bit of a medium rare right now. We're going to set those and cover them. Always want your steaks to be covered. Because I like medium, I'm going to throw them in with the potatoes as I go to get something to cover. Oh, no, we're going to go over here. Sorry, guys. Get our plate out. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to double plate it. Put the steaks in and just cover them up like that. Let them sit on the side for a minute. Oh, yeah. At this point, if you want, you see an amazing dinner sitting in front of you. A couple of steaks, vegetables, oven roasted potatoes. This is the time you go and get a drink. So I got the perfect thing set aside. Urban Artifact. Absolutely delicious. Classic. That's gonna go beautifully with the steak. I'm so excited. So while we're waiting, we can plate our vegetables. Oh, excuse me, guys. Got the case of the sniffles. Okay. Pull our steaks. Now it's very important you want your steaks to rest, because that's what brings all the juices back into it. The heat seeps them all out. Get it to the temperature you want. Cover it and let all that heat stay together, and it'll bring the juices back in and keep the meat very flavorful. So we're going to set those off to the side. Get our plate set up. We got our vegetables over here. Oh, these look beautiful. You can see they're nice and caramelized. The onions and the peppers aren't overcooked. The broccoli isn't overcooked. Get a nice little helping off to the side. Oh yeah. this pan out of here. Don't want to burn ourselves. Alright, now time for the potatoes. If you want, you can add, if you'd like, you can always add cheese to potatoes and continue melting it. You can add pretty much anything you want from here. If you want, though, you could mash them down, add some heavy cream and butter, make perfect mashed potatoes to go with a steak dinner. I personally just like roasted. So I'm going to put those off to the side. And then while you have all this set ready to go, there we go. You're going to make a butter. And that's what we're going to add to our potatoes. So I got a little bowl here, somewhere, nowhere. I got a medium bowl here. I have about a quarter stick of butter, which is more than enough. We're going to add that in. We're going to add our salt, pepper to it. We're going to add our onion powder, just a tiny bit, and a little bit of our garlic powder. And what we're going to do from here is we're just going to mash it up. You'll definitely want to use room temperature butter for this. It'll make it 10 times easier when you go to mix it. Now I'm using unsalted butter, so that way I can control how much salt I actually want in here. And then you'll get butter, nice and whipped, seasoned. We're going to add a little bit of that right on top of our potatoes. Let that melt into it. There you go. Come on. There you go. Save the rest for our steak. So our steak has been sitting for about a minute, minute and a half. Oh man, you can smell the season. You can smell it. It's absolutely wonderful. So we're gonna take our smaller one here. And I just want to show you. I'll cut it right in half. Now it's very important you don't want to do this as soon as it comes out of the oven, because then you'll lose all the juice. Voila. Absolutely stunning. Perfect medium. Tad mid-rare right in the center. That's no problem. If I left it about another minute longer, it'd be medium throughout. Here, I'll give you a different picture. Perfect. You can see how it's glistening. It's literally dripping juice right as I hold it. So we're going to set that to the side. And we're going to add our finishing butter right on top. This will add all the extra flavor that might have fallen out in the pan. Perfect. I'll move this out of the way. And look at that, guys. A steak dinner, perfect in under 45 minutes. In under 40 minutes. Don't get that twisted. Under 40 minutes. Beautiful, guys. Alright, let's dig in. Actually, I can't. I have to take a picture. This is gonna be perfect. Oh my God. Now I have to dig in. I have to. How can I not? So first, the steak, of course. Perfectly cooked all the way to the very end. Mmm. To die for. It's juicy. It's melting in your mouth because it's a filet. And it's not even a high quality filet. You can find this at your local grocery store. This is a certified Angus beef. Absolutely delicious. As long as you cook it properly and with the right seasonings, anything can be good. So now we're going to go on to our butter roasted potatoes. "32 minutes, guys. Time it out. 32 minutes on some quartered red potatoes, roasted. A great compliment. And then we're going to go on to our vegetables, our stir-fry vegetables. Mmm. You get that garlic, and because you added the butter brings it all together and makes it absolutely savory. Makes you want to take another bite of the steak. And guys, at this point, how can I say no? Like, just look at it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It has layers of flavor. And so this is where I'm gonna have to leave you guys. Unless of course you want to see me eat the whole thing. But don't forget, part 3. This is part 3 right now. Be on YouTube later tonight, along with part 1. There were some technical difficulties with 1 and 2. 2 is currently up. 1 is getting ready to load. So go check it out if you missed it. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to message me on my Facebook, Parsville Hero 13. And till then, guys, I'll catch you next time. Hope you all have a wonderful night and eat great food. See you guys.